Hey guys, Randy German here, back again with Kenco Outfitters, and today we're going to tie one of those popular flies coming out of the dry fly era in the Catskills. Today we're going to try the Royal Wulff. The Royal Wulff was developed by Lee Wulff and was widely used by him on our local river here, the Esopus. I've already secured the hook shank. This is a dry fly. I got my buck tail. With the buck tail, I stacked it in a stacker, and now I'm going to measure it on the hook shank. So I do the full length on this dry fly, pinch it at the length, and secure it to the hook shank. Now, I like to try measuring out where I'm going to start my wing post on my fly with the way I secure it to the hook shank. So I measure it down to where I think I'm going to go. Cut it, and this will just help, one, form the taper of the body, not crowd the wing casing, and two, it'll actually stop the wing from folding itself back. It's a little far up, so I'm going to back it up just an inch. That's easy to do. Takes a couple strokes off. Put them back on further back. And trim it down. You can always correct a mistake. You can always go back one or two steps, but when you realize you've done something wrong further in, it's gigs up. So that is our platform for that. So next we're going to tie in the wing. The wing on the Royal Wulff is calf tail. We measure out the calf tail, take a healthy clump off. And Lee actually used to all do this by hand. He never used a stacker. And you know, for calf tail, I kind of agree with him. Calf tail is kind of a pain in the butt to shove in a stacker. So I just kind of like doing it by hand myself. Each to their own. You can put it in a stacker. Sometimes I'll throw it in the stacker just to get it started and then do the rest by hand. But again, it can be difficult in a stacker. I'll give it a try. But sometimes the fibers almost get too fluffy and they air out as you do that. That didn't work bad. Alright, and notice how I'm picking through the small fibers as I keep doing this. And so I had a huge clump when I started, and I'm slowly dwindling down what I have left. Now the wings, you want to be two pretty healthy wings. I go, again, length of the hook shank, and that is what the original recipe calls for. So that's what we'll do. So again, securing it with pinch wraps. That might be a little too much still. There we go. Those under fibers will crowd where you actually secure it to the hook shank, so it's important not to get too many of them trapped in when you secure it. Otherwise it'll get all fat and weird looking. So secure it with a couple good passes. This is a fat material. There's not much you can do about the fatness of it. And of course, to trim it, I like a downward back cut, because again, this will add to the taper of the fly. Oop. It's alright, no panic. Goes right back on. Now to split it, everyone has their own way of doing it. I like to just get a sideways view on it, split it with my fingers, almost making two bunches with my fingers. Like this. and drawing a line with my thread down the middle. And you'll see as I make my 888 passes here in a second, once I split the wing one more time, that it will end up being a nice wing set. There we go. Alright, once back to the tail, we're going to secure our peacock. Some use 2, some use 3. I go with 3. Secure. I don't secure this all the way down the hook shank, but I go most of the way. You'll see why in a minute, because you don't want to overbuild the taper. Secure it down. Now leave your thread about halfway, and I'll show you why. Peacock can be a little fragile, so when you make your first clump, you want to secure it down right away, regardless what it is. Now we're going to stop here and tie it just a little further down like this. So we're pushing it almost between the wings. And here I'm going to tie in a piece of red thread. Now I've seen people cheat and do the body with red thread. That's fine. I happen to use the traditional olive thread that the Catskills always used. So. Now I tie in the red thread, I make a nice base for it, and then I fold it backwards just in case it comes undone. Now the Royal Coachman, it's not like there's a Royal Coachman bug, you know, so it's kind of one of the country's first prospecting flies. A fly that could be used just to find out where trout are lying, and it's a very good buggy looking pattern, so it ends up being good to rise trout, to make trout rise. Sometimes when they're not. So now I bring my thread back in front of the peacock. Notice I bring the peacock a little into where I just had the thread. Make a couple nice wraps. Secure that to the hook shank. So I got 2 I pre-measured from a red rooster tail, and what I'll do is I'll trim it and size it. It's important to make sure both your hackle bar, or both your stems of hackle are going to actually have the same length on the barbs. When you get them from the same cape, it's hard to pre-measure it. So what I do is I measure one and then use that one as the measurement for the second. And what I'm doing here is stripping. Now this one I got is almost like a furnace color, but it actually adds a pretty cool little flair to the fly setup. So I tie this in. I'm tying it diagonally right behind the wing set. Now wolves are always usually overdressed, and that's just the pattern to them. Can't get the feathers to stay I want to right now. Alright, here we go. Some people will tie them one in at a time. I obviously don't. I like tying the 2 at a time and just making sure I get it down on the wrap. Bring this one almost to the eye, and we'll get one more special tool I like and wrap it. Now, typically the recipe will call for 3 wraps on the back and 2 on the front. And you'll notice as you do that, this is a buggy fly. That's kind of the purpose of it. Being a tractor fly, it has no specific species that you're trying to mimic. So you're just really making a fly that is quite buggy in color, shape, and action on the water as could be made. So now we're almost done. We got the fibers all stacked up. I like just to pinch my hackle forward. When you put the glue, it'll soak into the hackle and set it up permanently. And what I'll do is I'll just take a couple half hitches on it. The half hitches will push the hackle fibers back. And if you want, then you can put I just use a pen for the half hitch. They do make half hitch tools, but you'll notice the hackles kind of stack up on you there. And you put a dab of head cement on that sucker and you're good. You could always do a whip finish on top of that if you want. I don't see the need to. I usually just put head cement on and ready to go. But that is a Royal Wulff. Again, another great Esopus fly.